This is TWiT.
So AI is always an issue, and while it can do great things, it can greatly screw up things as well. Case in point, it caused the ending of the Sumo group. Sumo stands for Support Mozilla, and it's the Japanese language support for Firefox and other Mozilla projects. This group is one of the oldest and most dedicated groups in supporting Mozilla. The group would bring together supporters for Mozilla products, and they would translate, maintain, and update documentation, tutorials, and troubleshooting guides for Firefox and other Mozilla products. The leader of the organization sent a message to disband the group for the reason of SumoBot, which is an AI translation tool, and it was released on October 22nd, and it started to approve translations and edit existing translations. This was an issue because the Sumo group says, I'm quoting, "It disregards Japanese translation guidelines, resulting in literal and sometimes inaccurate text. It overrode existing localizations, effectively erasing community-approved work. And it automatically approved machine-translated content for all archived articles within 72 hours, removing the review window for human contributors. It operated without consultation, control, or communication with the Japanese community. The result of this was over 300 existing knowledge base articles were overwritten by SumoBot." The leader then said the following: "I quit to contribute to support.mozilla.org. I prohibit to use all my translation as learning data for SumoBot and AIs. I request to remove all my translation from learned data of Sumo AIs. However, individual Japanese contributors may want to work in their responsibility. It is their choice. We don't care nor support. Bye." So the comments in the Sumo discussion forum had some Mozilla folks talking about what happened, and maybe it was related to a bug, but others who translate in another language, and in this case, Italian, somebody spoke up, and they were talking about how they have to always go in and fix the translations. And they also mentioned it's a very small window in which the bot acts, so they are always in a rush to get things correct. There was also a discussion by a person involved with the AI saying they never expected it to be turned on for all locales. They expected it for the 20 languages which do not have an active translator person or group. So they have roughly 20 languages that are kind of orphaned right now, and nobody's helping work on them. And he thought that's where the bot was going to be used. A good point also brought up is that AI can do translation, but especially in the case of the Sumo group, people were doing transcreation, which is where you have to adapt the message from one language to another while preserving its intent, style, and original tone.
Mm-hmm.
It's much deeper and harder to do that than actual literal translation. So to take that as I can give a specific example that I found out about. I work with teams overseas, and one of the sayings in the US we have is the grass is always greener on the other side, meaning no matter where you're at, it always seems better in somebody else's. Their life is better, what they have is better, they're happier, however you want to take it. Well, I got told that in certain parts of Asia, it's far away drums sound better. So it's not a literal translation. That would be a transcreation. So when you say that, it means the same thing, but it's because you don't hear the small imperfections when the drums are far away. But it means, just looking over without any real sense of detail, things look a lot better when you're not inspecting it up close. So that's where the same meaning, the same intent has literal translation differences. And there's a lot of things like that they were talking about, that it doesn't, literal translations fall down a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
So take a look at the article in the show notes and then read the comments in the link on the Sumo discussion forum, because there's a lot of insight, and people who are deeply involved with the translations and the AI itself adding their comments. So I really hope they can turn this decision around, but only time will tell. But they're going to have to make a lot of apologies, I think, because they really made the head of the Sumo organization pretty upset.
Yeah, it sounds like it sounds like that if they were going to turn this around, they missed the window to do so. There needed to be a very quick, oh my goodness, that is not what this was supposed to do. We're going to go revert all of this and turn the bot off. We're going to fix this and make it right. And they didn't. And
yeah, and it never said who
to come back from that.
Yeah, it never said who actually, and they said, they need to come out and do that, restore all the documents to what they originally were, basically undo what the bot did. But because even, like I said, even the creator of the bot, or at least one of the people that created was working on it, was surprised it was using this way. It's like, this is not what it was for. And there's comments, of course, of like the language subtleties, that direct translation could be insulting in another language. Absolutely. It translates over. It's where you have to have somebody with localized knowledge to say, no, you don't say it like this. We're going to insert this other phrase that means the same thing, same intent.
Mm-hmm. Japanese is
politer.
Japanese is sort of famous for that, having that idea of polite language. There's 3 different ways that you can refer to yourself, 3 different first-person pronouns. And if you use one of them, you're either a very small child or you're trying to insult someone. It's, to us as English speakers, it is the weirdest thing. But I can see that coming up a lot.
Well, they give an example in the comments too, of where they say, and this is in the mailing list of the Sumo site, that somebody posted in there something in Japanese, and I'm like, oh, what is this? So I translated it, and at least in this, and I'm kind of trusting AI on this, but they said it's how you say thank you, but it's generally used in a form that you're thanking somebody that works for you, not a superior, and so it could come off as rather demeaning, a little insulting if you think you're saying thank you, but it's like, you're kind of giving a backhanded compliment,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is unfortunate to see. This is going to be a real problem for the translator community. It's, this is the kind of thing you're going to see in a lot of, not just projects, but in a lot of different places. Like, is the AI good enough? And then do you get rid of the real people running the show once you believe the AI is good enough? And then, like, the next question is, what's going to go wrong as a result?
Well, the translation, the bot, it's going to get something it doesn't know.
Yeah, of course.
It has trouble under translating, especially if it's trying to translate one of those double or triple entendres that we like to do in English.
Yeah. There's another interesting thing in here that I've recently discovered is has the potential to be a really big problem. One of the things that the head translator said is, I request the removal of my translations from Sumo's AI datasets. That's basically impossible. You know the way you do that? You start over. You redo the training without it. And I saw an article where someone was talking about the EU privacy laws and the right to be forgotten. It's like, how do you jive the right to be forgotten with AI data sets that came from the internet? Your name, whatever it is you feel you have the right to be forgotten, is inside that data set now. And the only way to get rid of it is to delete it and retrain it. And it's really immovable, or a unstoppable force about to meet an immovable wall, because there's no way that, you just can't. You can't do that and have AI the way that it's trained right now. And the law says that you have to.
And maybe the way to think about it, because this stuff is tokenized, but an analogy would be, okay, I make a file, Jonathan makes a file, Ken makes a file, and we merge them and hash them. And then the original files are gone, and someone says, okay, Jonathan wants his information removed out of the hash.
all that stuff is so mixed together. There's no way to get it back out.
You can't. The only way is you'd have to generate a new hash, just saying, oh, now we're going to get the original Jeff file and the original Ken file, and then hash that, because you can't pull it out. Mm-hmm. It's just not how it works.
Yeah, I will say that I think the whole right to be forgotten laws, I think they're a terrible idea for multiple reasons. This is only one of them. I think you also have problems with like trying to preserve history, and the idea of the right to be forgotten gets in the way of that. There's like YouTube videos that people have taken down that were historically important. They're just gone forever. And sometimes things like copyright law, things like the right to be forgotten are part of that problem. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it.
And here's some trans creationisms just in the comment section. iLag says, asked to get the salt out of the salad, where Quippy says, no way to get the toothpaste back into the tube. Depending on your culture, that may or may not have a lot of meaning, or I don't understand that.
Yeah. I get the meaning of the salt out of the salad, but that's not a turn of phrase that we would use.
No, that's why it kind of caught my. It's like, oh, I know what it means, and it's the same as the no way to get the toothpaste back into the tube, but I've never heard anybody actually utter that.
Yeah, interesting stuff. All right,
I have seen where people have said, "Take it back and bring me one without salt."
Yeah, that's the same thing as for you got to start over.
Yes.
Yep.
If you enjoyed this clip, be sure to check out the Untitled Linux Show. You can find us in your favorite podcasting app or subscribe to our YouTube channel down in the links below. See you there.